Welcome to another episode of It Heartfelt with Gloria. My name is Gloria Ndoro-Mkombachoto, and I'm carrying on with the entrepreneurial series on why Black people as a community that goes into business legs behind in growing and sustaining their businesses to become intergenerational businesses. If you are still with us, thank you for watching. We really appreciate you to come and view our content. But please, if you are not yet subscribed to It Heartfelt with Gloria, we would really like you to go onto our YouTube channel, It Heartfelt with Gloria, and subscribe there. But don't only stop at subscribing and viewing. We would like you to make comments and share the video. That's how the algorithm works. The more you share our video, the more it's viewed, the more we also get more airtime on YouTube. Now, we have started collecting evidence on why Black enterprises fail. For the most part, most of them fail to graduate to become intergenerational businesses. And the first reason, non-generic, we spoke about was social capital. The failure of Black people or Black enterprises to use social capital to their advantage. Yet social capital, which is the goose that ought to lay the golden egg, is very important. They underrate it or don't even know that it's available at their disposal for use. So we talked about that in episode 6. Now in this episode 7, we are talking about the second reason why Black enterprises fail to graduate to become intergenerational businesses. And this second reason is most Black families, entrepreneurial Black families, who have run successful businesses that have been the main source of livelihood for those families, tend to educate their children away from those businesses. I would like to tell you a story that is well known in both my maternal and paternal families. Both my grandparents on either side had agricultural holdings in the areas formerly known in Zimbabwe as African purchase areas. They purchased these African holdings and started agriculture there, and they were running these agricultural holdings as businesses. This means that the family's sole source of income was from the agricultural holdings. They were able to feed their families from the agricultural holdings. They were able to clothe them. They were able to send them to school. But most importantly, they were able to supply produce to the necessary government parastatals where produce was bought by government and made money and had huge savings, which they plowed back into those farming operations. But on both the maternal and the paternal side, none of the children bothered to go and acquire skills in agriculture. You would think that if your parents are doing farming successfully, and you can see that the family is deriving their livelihood from these farming operations, you would want to do the same. But I observed that on both the maternal and paternal side, that was not the situation. Yet in white families in Zimbabwe, there is documented history where a great-great-grandfather was a farmer. He was the founding farmer on this piece of land, and his son took over the farm, or his sons took over the farm if he had more. And it would not even stop there. If there were only daughters in the family, you would find that even the son-in-laws would be incorporated into the farming business. They would live on the farm, and the operations would carry on from one generation to the other. Some people might want to say that the African purchase areas of that time were known to be located within poor soils, low rainfall patterns, and so forth and so on. But this is 2023 now. There's technology. You can literally grow anything, anywhere with drip irrigation. So it no longer matters today whether you were in previously known to be fertile soils, or you were in the designated African purchase areas where Black people were only allowed to purchase farms. It's no longer relevant. But the long and short of it is, before the chaotic land reform program that started, I think in 2000, around there, the majority of commercial farming land in Zimbabwe was owned by white people, and you could literally trace the history of that farm from one generation to the other. Yet, in the very same Zimbabwe, with African purchase areas, some of the families have been able to keep the farms, and some of those farms are productive, but some of them are not productive. So we have been having conversations as grandchildren to the founding fathers and mothers of these farms, and we've been asking what went wrong. Why did none of our parents on both sides choose to get into agriculture and take over these farms? In fact, what we noticed is, in the surrounding farming areas of these African purchase areas, the parents who failed to send their kids to school, those children today are now resident on those farms, and they are carrying on with, livestock farming or cropping. Yet, the parents, the founding fathers and mothers, or the founding parents who were able to send their kids to school, those children never came back to derive sustenance from the agricultural holdings, because they now had other options. Either they were in banking, or they were teachers, they were nurses, and so forth and so on. But that doesn't stop there. What is also shocking is perhaps what the founding parents of that time failed to do with their children to try and get them to acquire agricultural qualifications, and then even make those agricultural holdings more productive. I'm seeing that those challenges, or you would say gaps, or you would say errors, are being repeated by my generation. I talk to a lot of parents who are in business today, and their businesses are thriving. Those businesses are the main source of income for their families. They have grown those businesses, some of them to be huge conglomerates. But you find that they take pride in saying that, oh, my daughter is a doctor, or my son is a chemical engineer. yet their businesses have got nothing to do with chemical engineering or have got nothing to do with medicine. They are repeating the same mistakes that happened in the past, where a lot of founding parents who set up good, solid, viable businesses, be it in agriculture or away from agriculture, did by not coaching their children from a young age and making the children understand and choose careers that are related to the businesses that are on the ground. This is very unfortunate. But when you look at our history in Zimbabwe of entrepreneurship, when you look at the history of Black entrepreneurship, a lot of the entrepreneurs of yesteryear were perceived to be failed, perhaps academics. They were dropouts from high school, never went to university, and went into business. So people perceived entrepreneurship as a career of last resort. So I believe, and I would like to be proved wrong, that that kind of thinking where entrepreneurship at all levels is still regarded as an underdog. A parent perhaps would like to see their child as the CEO of a conglomerate that they don't own. They don't have skin in the game of that conglomerate. But the parent would rather move around and say, my daughter Gloria is the CEO of X conglomerate, but Gloria has got no skin in the game. Yet that very same parent set up a successful business that grew to certain levels, and they are not keen for their children to come and join that business and grow that business so that that business achieves critical mass. So in discussions with children of parents who were founding fathers and mothers of successful businesses, you find that the children will tell you that our parents didn't want us to be involved in the family business, so we figured let's go and do other careers. The kids were more socialized to be consumers of the output from the business and not appreciate what it takes to make that business a success. I have spoken to founding fathers of agricultural holdings in African purchase areas, and I've spoken to some of their children who are on the land, and you can see the dynamics. Some of those children are on the land, not even because they appreciate that you can make the livelihood from a farm and make it successful. They are there because they perhaps could not succeed anywhere else. Now, we need to ask ourselves fundamental questions. Are Black families, are Black entrepreneurial families going to always be starting afresh? Is it okay for each generation to be starting from ground zero when they could have been building from what their forefathers had started? You scan the market, there are changes in technology, you adapt, you grow that business, and that business becomes an intergenerational business. So For those who have just joined us, we've been talking about the second reason why Black entrepreneurs tend to lag behind other communities in growing and sustaining their businesses to become intergenerational businesses. And the first item we spoke about in episode 6 was the importance of social capital and how a lot of Black entrepreneurs with a lot of social capital around them do not know how to use it to their own advantage or benefit from it. Now, today, we were talking about why Black entrepreneurial families with successful businesses that can be further championed by future generations to become generational businesses. Why are they not doing it? And the second reason we were talking about was the fact that Black families tend to educate their children away from the businesses. And we are still to unpack why they do that. Why set up something which, when you eventually depart from this earth, is going to fail, and future generations are going to start from ground zero? The other day, I was at a wedding and I was talking to somebody, a visitor who had come for the wedding, coming from America. And he owns a venture capital company in the US that is capitalized to billions. So I asked him and I said, how did you manage to capitalize your venture capital company to these billions? And he said, I sold a piece of real estate that my forefathers left, and it had acquired a lot of value. And I sold this piece of real estate and I plowed it into the venture capital. But anyway, in our family, there is a value system where you benefit from what was bequeathed to you by your forefathers, but for your generation, you need to add to that wealth so that future generations in the future benefit. And he was actually telling me that his family and other families who are part of their social network, they take positions on land for as long as 500 years. That's the kind of long-range planning that they are doing. And I believe that there are so many lessons to learn from this. And I would like to see Black entrepreneurial families thinking about the future in terms of horizons of 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. But most importantly, getting the young people to understand the nuts and bolts of business, the business that was started by the family at a very young age. I always see Asian families are very, very good at Asian families are very, very good at getting their children to start in business at a very young age. On that note, thank you. Until next time. Bye.